What's happening, guys? Welcome back to RC Tactical. Today I have my 90mm Desert Lizard shocks, and I wanted to show you a new shock setup that I've currently been messing with. This thing is awesome. I'm really excited to share it with you guys. Something for you guys to consider should you want to set up a lower center of gravity truck and you're looking for a nice shock setup on your Desert Lizards to do that. All you're going to need is the longest soft springs that come with the kit and the shortest hard springs that come with the kit. And I'll show you why later on once we get these apart and get everything installed. We're going to be changing out the oil because it's going to be dirty and full of metal dust anyways, and it could use it. Now these are the Unimog shocks, but all of the shocks that I run are 90mm Desert Lizards, so it's all going to be the same setup. And I actually have this current setup in both of my other trucks because I loved it so much. So without any further ado, let's get into it and I'll show you. Alright, this is a messy procedure, but I wanted to show you guys exactly what I'm doing here. So I'm going to take the cap off first and foremost. And then I'm going to drain out all this excess oil, but be careful when you're draining it out, if you're draining it out into a garbage or something, because you still have a spring down in there. So I'm going to do that now. Alright, here is one of the springs, and this top one is the one I'm going to be using. I put this in here, but normally this spring will be right here, I believe. I can't remember exactly whether or not they put the softer one or the harder one below whenever you first open your Desert Lizard kit. Regardless, this particular setup I'm using a stiffer spring above the plunger and a long soft spring below the plunger, so you're going to have to pull the C-clip off the top of the plunger, and it's not terribly hard. However, it is really tiny, so you got to be careful. You can see right there. That's the one you're going to want to pull. And I usually go about doing this. It doesn't have any captive holes like some of the C-clips. It's inner retention. So I use the back end of the tool that they give you. Pull down on the plunger a little bit to kind of get it away from it. Use the back end to push it as far away from the shaft here, the rod, as possible, and then it'll give you a gap at the top so you can actually pry with a flathead away from the shaft. I might not have given myself enough of a gap. It's coming. Okay. And you're just trying to get the side of the flathead into one of these holes. One of these holes right there. Pull it away. Once you have that, take off the plunger. You don't need to take the lower one off. That'll be kind of counterproductive. So you just slide on the longer soft spring, and that's all included in the kit that you get. Pop your plunger back on, get your C-clip, kind of get it staged, lined up with that valley that they have, that little captive hole. Try to get it started as much as you can with your fingers so it doesn't slip whenever you grip it with something like a pair of small pliers, and it just pops right back in. And it seats pretty well, so it's not something you really have to fight too much. Oops. It looks like it's all good there. And now you will have your nice quick return below. I really like how these are set up here. Put these off to the side, and I'm going to keep this one. So you're going to get the top end of your cylinder here. Wiping it off for no reason because it's about to get dirty as heck. Drop that in there. Put your oil of choice, like I said. I use 80 weight shock oil, and I usually bring it up close to the threads. You don't need to go over the threads because it's all going to bleed out regardless. Put it in nice and easy. Get your threads started. And it has bleed holes on both sides of the cap there. Get it threaded most of the way down, but you still want to have a gap between the O-ring and the shock body because that's where you want the oil to come out. You don't want the oil to be pressing out on your O-ring, because what will happen is the O-ring will kind of bulge out, and then whenever you tighten this cap down, it's going to catch that O-ring and it could potentially cut it or rip it, and you don't really want that. Though the kit does include spare O-rings for this, it includes the spare green ones that sit around here, and it includes new larger ones for around the shock cap. I like to use those green smaller ones for other projects. I actually like to put them between the screw that retains the top and bottom of this, and it kind of puts it keeps the slop out of it. Just one of the things that I like to do. I even do it with some of the smaller ones. My Charisma MSA 1E has some on it. I'm just going to bleed this out. Get all that extra goodness out. You're going to have a little bit of drippage. Okay. Then I'm going to thread it down just a wee bit more. Oop, keep slipping. I still have a bit of a gap there. And bring it real close to that O-ring. Still a bit of a gap between the O-ring and the shock body. And I kind of highlighted, I did a lot of the bleeding procedure last go around, so I'm not going into it too in depth. If you want to check out that video, I'll put it up above or at the end here. And I'm also going to list everything that I have and that I'm using for this setup, so you can actually have it for reference. You can pause the video. All right, this is what he used. He used the short hard one above. He used the long soft one below. He used 80 weight shock oil. But like I said, that's up to you. I used the 4-hole plunger, which is what is installed stock on the Desert Lizard shocks. It's one of the reasons why I'm using the 4-hole is because I use such heavy oil. However, I like it to move freely but slowly in there. That's one of the reasons why I'm using the heavier oil. Let's see if I got enough out. It might still be oil locked here. That is pretty good. Let me see compared to this one. Yes. Full shock travel. And it sucks it right back in. There's no hesitation. There's no, even with the heavy oil that I'm using, it pulls it right back in. And that's what I want whenever I have a truck set up, is I want the body to return to the axles promptly. I mean, you don't want it to snap back, but you want it to promptly come back. And I think the long soft one is nice because it's not an aggressive pullback. It's a slow enough pullback with the combination of the 80 weight shock oil and the long soft spring that it kind of makes a nice slow compression. And that's really what I'm kind of going for. I'm not going for a rock racer. These are crawlers, so I kind of want a slow response so I can control and anticipate how the truck is going to act. This is definitely going to keep your side hill ability as high as the truck will possibly go, and it really helps on really steep rock ascensions, really steep hills. I've never had my trucks perform as good as they do with these shocks. and with this setup of these shocks. So it's something for you guys to contemplate, something for you to chew on if this is something that might be right for your rig. I'm going to finish off this one here, and I'm not going to make you sit through it, but I'm going to throw up that card with everything I have used here. And thanks for joining me, guys. And stay tuned for next time, because I'm going out to a new location. It's an indoor rock crawling course this weekend, and I'm going to try to bring you guys along and post a video about it. So stay tuned, subscribe, give me a like if you enjoyed the video or if this helped you at all. If you have any questions, shoot them down below, because I am happy to answer questions as quickly as possible. Give me ample time. Sometimes you guys like to comment at nighttime, at least nighttime where I'm at. So I will definitely respond. I try to respond to everything. If there's something I haven't listed in the video that you're wondering about, definitely get a hold of me. Ask me. I will definitely answer everything I can to the best of my ability. So thanks for joining me, guys.